Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Bolo.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana.
Jai Radha Ramana.
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 Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol,
Jai Radha Ramana,
Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana,
Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana,
Haribol, 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 Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol, Haribol,
Radha, Radhe, Jai Radha, Radhe. Radhe, 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 Jai Radhe, Radhe. Radhe, 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 Jai Radhe, Radhe. Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Sri Radhe. Oh, Radhe, 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 Jai Radhe, Radhe. Radhe, 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 Varshana Radhe, Radhe. Jai Sri Radhe, 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 Goddess Sri Radhe, divine love. Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Sham,
Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham,
together.
Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham,
Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham. Radha Ramana ki
Jai!
Haribol.
Haribol! Thank you for joining us. So sweet to sing with you. So sweet.
Welcome to all the Yogolution yogis
Yes.
joining us on YouTube, Facebook, and also our dear ones here on Zoom. We love you for
Yes.
joining us in
do.
person because we get to see you. And our spiritual path is a personal path, meaning that we celebrate the divine attributes or the divine features of the Lord. There are different ways to meditate on God. we can meditate on what's called the Brahma Jyoti, or the effulgence, or the white light. And this is very beautiful, and it's infused with shantaras, or peacefulness. And that's a mood. But there are other moods as well in meditation. There is the mood of divine love, which is, I think, our personal favorite.
Yes.
And with this comes certain personal features of the Lord. And many spiritual paths have this. This is not limited to Vaishnavism or various sects of Hinduism. Throughout the Western world, we have beautiful spiritual traditions that meditate on the more personal aspects of the divine. So this particular mantra is I would call it an old Vaishnav favorite. And I did not learn this from my classical teachings or lessons. Rather, I learnt this through my own Kirtan tradition of the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition. Pardon me. So I cannot tell you with certainty that it is a particular rag, but what I can do is I can deduce from looking at the notes that I play, I can deduce the scale that it's in, and I would say that the tat, or the scale, is Bhairavi. Whether it's Bhairavi rag, I'm not so certain, but I can pretty much think it's Bhairavi tat, or scale. And Bhairavi is a very accommodating rag. It is one that has lots of mishras, or lots of variations. The scale, the arohi and avrohi, feature a lot of komal notes, or flat notes. So I shall do the Bhairavi tat, or scale. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. Do that again. Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re sa.
Let's do it one more time slowly.
Sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So you might hear a little of that in Jai Jai Radha Raman Haribol, sa ga ma pa, sa re ga ma pa. So, and often in Bhairavi we skip re on the aro, so it has some of the features. So this particular mantra, Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol, it's a really beautiful mantra, and the meaning behind it is really beautiful. So it is a mantra in celebration of divine love. So within everything, within us even, we have the feminine, the masculine. So even within the divine, there is feminine and masculine. And sometimes people say, well, why can't God be a woman? And it's like, well, he is. So there is the divine feminine and there's the divine masculine. And there's a lot of fluidity here, because in many pastimes we have even Shiva, who is divine masculine, dress up as a gopi to enter into divine loving pastimes and be included in the Rasa Leela. We also have actually the appearance day of a great bhakti yogi called Shramananda Prabhu. In a pastime, he was transformed by the potency of Radha into a kunj, saki, a forest gopi, when he took audience of Radharani. So it doesn't matter what our material bodies are, male, female, trans, whatever, we all have divine masculine, divine feminine within us. And so the ultimate divine feminine is Radharani, the goddess of love. And she is so exquisite. She's described as having thunder thighs. You know, we used to think that having a little, a little junk in the trunk was a bad thing growing up. Now it's all celebrated. So it's just good to know that the goddess of love has thunder thighs, which is quite a compliment. And she is more beautiful than molten gold or lava. She's described as that. And she is known as Madana Mohan Mohini. So the god of love, the divine masculine, is known as Madan Mohan. He bewilders the demigod Cupid. But the goddess of love is known as Madana Mohan Mohini. She bewilders the one who bewilders, the god of love. So Radha Ramana, this is a name for the divine masculine, and it's describing him as the one who enchants and is enchanted by the goddess, and the one who brings pleasure, Raman, to the goddess of love. And so sometimes we talk about the Maha Mantra, and that Hare, Krishna and Rama is the reservoir of all pleasure. So Radha Ramana is the one who brings pleasure to Radha, or the goddess of love. And again we see this figure eight, this infinity loop of service, seva, serving divine love to your beloved, and then your beloved serves back divine love to you. So this idea of the infinite loop of divine love is inherent in this mantra, J.J. Radha Ramana. And then Haribol. Hari is another name describing God as having the feature of lifting the veil of forgetfulness, and perhaps the veil of ignorance, or it's kind of a heavy word, ignorance, but that sort of forgetfulness of our divine nature. So Hari lifts the veil so that we can remember our divine nature, and Bolo means to sing or to speak. So what we're saying with this mantra is, let's sing and speak and celebrate, JJ, let's celebrate the one, the God of love, who brings pleasure to the goddess of love. And so with that, it is both a meditation on divine love and also a prayer to be in the service of, by speaking or promoting divine love.
Yes.
And so by doing this, what we're trying to do is we're trying to invite prema, or as they say at Bhakti Fest, be in the bhav. We're trying to invite that bhava, or that Krishna prema, that divine joy and ananda into our hearts. And life is not one big static white noise. It is made up of moments, and some moments are good and some moments are bad. The mind is a monkey and it's pulling us in so many directions, right? Gotta do taxes, gotta go shopping. Oh, I'm out of almond milk. I have to get almond milk. Oh, I have this other deadline. Oh, but it's my mum's birthday tomorrow. And so it's a mixture of sukha dukkha, joy, happiness and distress, right? But the more we can meditate on these divine blessings, we can string these moments of our life together like a necklace of pearls, so that we string these divine moments of joy together.
Beautiful.
We're not trying to negate life, we're trying to enjoy. Actually, one time my Param Guru, Srila Prabhupada, a reporter asked him, "What's the purpose of life?" And he said, "To enjoy." And they sort of were a bit taken aback, because that sounds like, well, okay, let's go out drinking, and it's like, and then he said, but you have to know how to enjoy. So the goal is ecstasy, but not the kind you put a tab on your tongue, because that expires, and then after that comes the blues, right? So We want the kind of ecstasy on
Very
call. Sustainable and and affordable. So this mantra, as you say, is Radha Ramana. So it so turns out that there are different deities around. We have the Gopinath deity, we have Jagannath behind us, right? So there's so many different descriptive names of God. And right now this mantra is Radha Ramana. So there is a Radha Ramana famous deity in Vrindavan, in the land of Vrindavan, right? And this temple is over 500 years old, and it's one of the very prominent temples in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the birthplace of Krishna 5,000 years ago. And so to this day, there are over 5,000 temples in Vrindavan, but some are more prominent than others. Many are humble and some are very, very prominent. One of the most prominent ones is the Radha Ramana temple, which was established by Gopala Bhatta Goswami. So if we think about, let's think about the Bible, and let's think about these are stories of, especially in the New Testament, these are stories of pastimes of Jesus. But Jesus wasn't sitting there writing out the Bible. He wasn't, oh, sorry guys, no miracles today. I got another chapter of the New Testament to write. No, he was out doing his thing, being his perfected self. But his apostles, they wrote all that's why there's Peter, Paul, and Mary. No, Matthew, Paul, Peter, all the different books. So in the same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a saint, an avatar, who came down born in the 15th century, but spanned both the 15th and the 16th century. And he came, we've spoken many times, to teach this kirtan, this call and response singing, this joyful group meditation. So during his time, he also had disciples. And his very prominent disciples were known as the 6 Goswamis. One of those Goswamis, and Swami just means one who can control the senses. So one of these Goswamis was Gopal Bhatta Prabhu. And he, when he was a child, he had the blessing to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Chaitanya visited his parents' house on tour in South India. And he aspired to be in the service in his life. But Chaitanya said, no, stay here, serve your parents, and then once your parents have left this world, then you can become, brahmachari, Goswami. And so he then went to Vrindavan afterwards. And actually on the way he got a vision. And in his dream, he was told by Chaitanya to go to Nepal and bathe in the Gandaki River. And he did that on the way to Vrindavan. And as he was filling his water pot, these shilas, these shalagram shilas would enter his pot. And first time he tipped them out, and then they entered his pot again when he dipped his water pot. It happened 3 times, and I don't know about you, but when something happens 3 times, you sort of stop and you go,
What's the sign? What's the meaning?
What's the universe trying to tell me, right? Like so you see someone 3 times, you're like, I gotta know this human. Who is this person in my life? So realized, okay, and shilas, these fossilized shells, and they're used in Vaishnava culture to worship as an icon for Vishnu or Krishna. And so he realized, okay, this is the divine telling me to worship these 12 shilas. And so he took these shilas back to Vrindavan and he was worshipping them. And then in his daily practice. And then Bhakti Yogi donated all these very fine garments for the worship, like we see in the picture here. And Gopal Bhatta thought, well, this is all very nice, but I don't have a deity that, the very fine form of the Lord, the Tribhangi form. And he became began meditating how I would love a very fine form of the Lord. And then the next morning he woke up, and after bathing in the Yamuna, he came back to start his puja, and he unwrapped his shilas, and he only had 11, and his Damodar shila was missing. In its place was the most beautiful deity of Radha Ramana. And
now you can see him.
And now you can see him. He has very lotus eyes, and he's very thin-waisted. Krishna has the body of a surfer. Have you ever seen surfers? They've got very broad shoulders and thin waists. So Krishna has the body of a divine surfer. And so he was able to utilize the very beautiful clothes in the deity worship.
And can you explain more about the Tribangi form?
Yeah, so the Tribangi, so it's interesting. Actually, if you look at Odissi, classical Indian dance from Orissa, it has two main stances. One is the Chauk, and this is very much Jagannath. But then it has the threefold bending form. So Tri means three, because Sanskrit is an Indo-European language. So there are many words in English and Spanish and that have the same origins. And so Hindi comes from Sanskrit. So think of Sanskrit as Latin. It's not spoken day to day, but it is the root of all many words, many words. And it's known as Devanagari, the language of the gods. So Tri means three, Bangi. So it's a threefold bending form. So Krishna, you'll see his head is cocked this way, his body is cocked that way, and then his hips and legs then go this way. And so he's the threefold bending form. And so his Shila turned into a deity. Now, the thing about Gopala Bhatta, he compiled some of the most in-depth treatises on deity worship and how to properly do puja to the deity. And so sometimes you see, we put archman, and we wash our hand, and we, wipe our head, and then we, have the bell, and we purify the bell as well, and then the incense, and we do the incense 4 times to the feet and twice to the waist, and then 7 all around, and each item, the ghee lamp, the flowers, the bathing, it's all very intricate, and there are many, I don't want to say rules, but there are many ways, historical ways to perform deity worship so nicely. So this is the level of, very high level of deity worship performed in the Radha Raman temple. So much so that my Param Guru, Srila Prabhupada, when he was establishing the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan, recommended, he said to his disciples, now you go to Radha Raman temple and you see how the Goswamis worship the deity there, and you learn from them, and you have that same level of deity worship at Krishna Balaram Mandir. And this temple, which was established 500 years ago in Vrindavan, the fire in the kitchen was lit all those many moons ago and has never gone out. Mm-hmm. So the ongoing deity worship and the making of the bhoga that then becomes the prasad, or the blessed food.
Keeps on going ever since.
So imagine the potency of that flame, right? And there are very special families that are in charge of performing the deity worship in this temple.
What an honor.
What an honor, yes. And so to this day, Radha Ramana temple is one of the principal temples in Vrindavan. You have the blessing, and actually our prayers go out to India right now, because we're very much aware that unfortunately the pandemic has taken a rather turn for the worse in India. So our prayers go out to all the sadhus, and please be safe. And we understand we're all spirit souls, but also take precaution and be safe, and
wear your masks.
Wear your masks. And here's the thing, sing with the mask, dance with the mask. It's okay. These are elements of the material world that come to plague us, right? But we must carry on. But we also have to have our discrimination and our intelligence, as well as our bhakti. That's the fine spiritualist that we need to balance. Be in the world, but not of it. But it doesn't mean, I mean, you still have to do your taxes, right? So all these things, sorry to go dark, but just we're sending our love out to India, and we pray that you guys get a handle on it. But in the meantime, we can also meditate on Radha Ramana from afar. And so if you get the chance to visit Radha Ramana temple in Vrindavan. And also many thanks to these saints and sages like the Goswamis, like Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who took the time to write down the pastimes of Chaitanya so that we could sit here today and do Kirtan, because otherwise I wouldn't know about it, right? And also to teach us how to do this beautiful divine deity worship. So this, we think, is in Bhairavi Tat. So one of the presiding rasas of Bhairavi is karuna, or compassion. So let's fill our hearts with compassion. Let's also meditate on the divine form of the goddess of love, Radharani, and how enchanting she, that the meditation of her beloved is, he just wants to bring pleasure to her. He just wants to serve her. Service has got a dirty reputation in the material world because I'm used to being taken advantage of. It's so hard to give something freely and with no expectations, because usually in the material world we get screwed, right? But imagine if we could live in a world where service is rewarded with service, so there's that divine reciprocation. So let's meditate on this divine love between the God of love and the goddess of love, and how they so freely give to each other in just service and love. And let's meditate and sing Bolo about Hari, God, in celebration. Jai, Jai.
Jai Jai.
So as we meditate, we bring that feeling to our heart, and we invite Radha Krishna onto our tongue, and we say, please, let us serve you. And see if this time the Kirtan has greater meaning for us. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana.
Jai Radha Ramana.
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 Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol, Jai Radha Ramana Haribol,
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol, Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Bolo. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana Haribol, Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana,
Jai Jai Radha Ramana.
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 Jai Radha Radhe, Jai Radha Radhe. Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Haribol, 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 Haribol.
Jai Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana.
Jai Radha Ramana,
Jai Radha Ramana.
Jai Radha Radhe, Jai Radha Radhe, Jai Radha Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jai Sri Radhe,
Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe,
Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe,
Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe.
Shri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Vashana Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Varshana Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jai Sri Radhe,
Jai Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe,
Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe,
Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe,
Jai Shri Radhe,
Jai Sri Radhe.
Jai Shri
Oh,
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jai Sri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jai Sri Radhe,
Jai Shri Radhe,
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 Jai Sri Radhe,
Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Sri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe.
Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham.
Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham.
One more all together.
Sham,
Sham, Radhe Sham. May the divine love enter our hearts and be present with us now and always. Haribol.
Haribol. So nice singing with you all. Thank you for joining us on Zoom Live. If you want to join us on Zoom, please email us at krishnakirtanmusic@gmail.com with your first name and last name so we can see you and host you and answer any questions you may have after the class. And thank you for all of you on YouTube and Facebook as well for listening and singing with us. Please put your Kirtan alarm for 7 p.m. every Wednesday, Los Angeles time, and 7 p.m. every Wednesday, Sydney, Australia time. We are here for you, and we are very, very happy to sing with you all.
And if you want to donate, it's at Venmo, is at Krishna Kirtan Music, and paypal.me/Krishna Kirtan Music. And if you want to be our patron, you can go to patreon.com/Krishna Kirtan Music. And our goal is to keep it free and available for everybody who needs it. But we also love the reciprocation, and it really helps us keep streaming. So thank you. And I do want to give a shout out to Shamananda Prabhu, who is, he's kind of not around, he's passed away. But this week was the appearance day just a couple of days ago of Shamananda Prabhu. And just like we talked about a very special deity in Vrindavan called Radha Ramana, I think in previous weeks we spoke about Shamananda Prabhu, who the deity of Shama Sundara. Actually, when we did that song, Shama Sundara Madana Mohana Jago Murela. We did that melody with a kirtan. So we talked about Shamananda Prabhu and how this beautiful deity of Shama Sundara was manifested to him. So he got the name Shamananda because his service, he was under the tutelage of Jiva Goswami, who is one of these Goswamis that we just spoke about. And his service was to sweep the forest floor, the kunj floor of where the Rasa Leela takes place, where Radha and her gopis and Krishna comes, and Krishna manifests himself unlimited times to be the partner of all the gopis. And his name was Dukhi Krishna. It was his service to sweep the floor. And one day he found a transcendental payal or anklet that belonged to Radha Rani.
And this is a picture that
and
you
he
see.
gave it back to her. And so then this beautiful deity of Shama Sundar was manifest for him so he could continue. And it's got very unusual tilak. And Shamananda Prabhu also had this very special tilak because Radharani, with her anklet covered in kumkum, in the red powder, placed sort of like a tilak marking on his forehead. And it was a very unique tilak. And that was from Radharani, the goddess of love herself. So the more we imbibe ourselves with bhakti, the more we can have these magical, transcendental happenings as well, the more we invite magic into our life. So let's invite the magic of bhakti and love into our lives. And we want to thank you because this is also our spiritual practice. So doing it together, it is in the tradition of bhakti, where we all kind of prop each other up. So thank you so much for being part of our spiritual practice. And we're going to sign off from YouTube and Facebook. We're going to stick around on Zoom and hang out with our dear friends
and answer any questions you may have. And also a big shout out to the Yogalution movement family in California. Please check their
Dharma
website
Shakti,
so that you can enjoy also their amazing classes. And also, once again, a friendly reminder for you to listen for free to all of our music. It is, we have a playlist, and our goal to record 108 different versions of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
got about 80 to go.
Yes. So
We're at 28 or something.
the link is youtube.com/C/Krishna Kirtan Music, and look for the Maha Mantra only playlist. And also for these same classes and workshops, we have a playlist specifically so you can learn more about the ragas and the pastimes.
Yeah, it's called the Wednesday and Thursday classes, so you can just go over any of the old material.
Yes.
Because it's ever fresh.
So yes, please set up your Kirtan alarm. We're signing off of Facebook and YouTube, and please stick around for those of you on Zoom. Thank you very much.
We love you. Thank you. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you. Until next week.
Hasta pronto.
Hasta pronto. Thank you. Haribol. Thank you. It's going to be a long goodbye because my remote here is not working, so I need to...
Oh, it ran out of juice. The remote pad ran out of juice, so it's a very long goodbye.
Thank you.
That's because love doesn't want to be in separation. It wants to be in union. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't want to sign off. He's in the bath. I'd like to see Mark Zuckerberg in the bath. I think that would be a wonderful thing. Oh, it doesn't want to sign off. How nice.